Good morning, student. We are continuing with the lesson History Chapter 2, Rise of Gandhi and Freedom Movement of India. In the last class, we studied about civil disobedience movement. Soon after civil disobedience movement, one agreement was signed between that agreement was known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact of 1931. It was a famous agreement in the history of India. We have to know what is this agreement, what is this pact. It was an agreement between Mahatma Gandhi and the then Governor General Lord Irwin. So let us look about the objectives of the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. What were the objectives? First objective was the release of political prisoners. Those political prisoners which were captured after civil disobedience movement, those should be released. Next objective was remission of all the fines which have not been collected. Remission means what? Cancellation of all the fines which have still not collected. Returns of confiscated lands to the Satyagrahis. Confiscated means what? Types of taken by seized with authority. When one part of land is seized with authority, then it will be called as confiscated land, and those lands should be returned. That was also another demand of this agreement. Next demand was government allowed to make salt and peaceful picketing also should be allowed by the government. So these were the agreement. Only this agreement, if it would be fulfilled, then only Congress, what they agreed to suspend civil disobedience movement. So this was the famous agreement, and this agreement is known as Gandhi-Irwin Pact of 1931. Now next, let us go to next topic of this chapter, that is Quit India movement. Quit India movement, and this was also one famous movement in the Indian history, and it started in August 1942. Before going to Quit India movement, let us look about its cause. What were the causes for which Quit India movement started? So cause, Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru were critical of Hitler and Nazis. They were against Hitler and Nazis during the Second World War that started in 1939. And what they promised to do? They promised to support British by Congress in return of complete independence. They should give complete independence to India. Then what they promised, that they will support the British to fight against Hitler and Nazis. But what happened when it was demanded, British government, what they did, British government refused. So after the refuse of British government, what they did, Congress minister resigned one by one. Then what they did, started individual satyagrahas. They started satyagrahas, and the British, at that time, who was the British Prime Minister? Then British Prime Minister was Winston Churchill. He was little bit sympathetic towards Indian demand. That the Indian demands for years and years they are demanding for independence. For that, when Winston Churchill was Prime Minister of Labour Party in Britain, and he was little sympathetic towards Indian demand. And what he did in 1942, he sent Stafford Cripps, one of his generals, to negotiate with Indian political parties by promising separate constitution and dominion status only after the war. What he had done, that they will give separate constitution and dominion status to Indians only when they will after the war. But it was not accepted by Gandhi because already once they had treated Indians. So they did not believe that one, and so Gandhiji launched the next movement, that is Quit India movement. Other factor, if we see what were the causes of Quit India movement, one of the factors is fear of Japan attacking India. Then terror in East Bengal. In the meantime, terror was also going in East Bengal, and fear of Japan attacking India was also one of the cause. Realizing British could not defend country anymore. Now Indians know that British are not going to, because they became weak and they are not going to defend the country anymore, and these are also some of the factors which led to Quit India movement of 1942. Now let us go to the activities. What were the activities were done during Quit India movement? So 8 August 1942, already we know that one was the date when Quit India movement was launched by All Indian Congress Committee. What were the demand? Immediate end of British rule with famous slogan of Mahatma Gandhi, that is do or die, do or die. Karo ya maro, one of the famous slogan, and that do or die slogan, with that slogan, Quit India movement was launched. Hartals were there, attacking symbols of British were there, railway station, law courts, police station, railway lines were damaged, and telegraph lines were cut down. These were some of the activities done during Quit India movement. In some places, what was done? People set up independent government. They themselves set up independent government because they are now they have no patience now. They want government of India. They don't want to remain under British rule. Many Congress leaders were arrested after that. They were arrested to bring down this movement. After that, what happened? Let us look. The movement came. Though this movement was short-lived, but it demonstrated depth of nationalist feeling among Indians. A sense of nationalism which grew after this movement is strongly reflected after this movement. So this was the topic about Quit India movement. We will go to next topic in next video.